Hello, I'm going to talk about the immigration policies presented by Trump's administration, but I'm going to focus on the fact of separating children from their families. I think this whole deportation process is not just heartbreaking and unhuman. I think it's also very unfair. A criminal in court is allowed to have someone who defend them and represent them during the process. It can be a kid, an adult, whoever. So how is that correct that a kid is allowed to be there in a courtroom with any responsible adult watching them during the whole process? They can even use recording device. So I think this is also illegal. The kids sometimes don't even speak the same language, so they don't really understand what's happening. No matter who you are, where you came from, even if you committed a crime, you're still allowed to have someone who help you during the process. And of course, if you are a kid who doesn't know anything about law, is a need. It's a need to have someone there to help them. And it's tested that a process like that to a kid can cause a psychological trauma. I believe that the most correct way to make this process of deportation when they are families, it's to deport the families together, not separating them. Being separating from your family only causes fear and makes this deportation process more traumatizing and exhausting. And I think the fact that the United States has completely ignored the request of the United Nations of stop or change this deportation process demonstrates once again the lack of empathy that the president has towards immigrants. This is not only illegal, this process totally violates the human rights of children. I made a little research about it and I investigated that the Trump administration said that this process only happens in cases of protecting children from human trafficking. If I'm honest, I do not think that this makes sense to me. A child will always be safe with his mother or with his family instead of being alone or even being in a shelter. In past news, we know that many kids are being sexually abused by the people taking care of them in the shelters. So I don't think that it's true. I don't think that the Trump administration is actually taking care of these kids. Following the immense public opposition and political pressures about this process was suspended for an indefinite period of time. I think it started in April 2018 and it was suspended to June 20 through an executive order. I think that the deportation of migrants is something that will always happen, sadly. But in spite of that, I think it's still our duty to demand our rights to be treated with respect and to be asserted. It's 2019, so we are a totally globalized world. Some countries depend on others. So I think that United States need to realize that the process of globalization not only talks about the economic, the business, or the technological part. This also means social and cultural integration. Well, as I said before, we cannot ask to the United States not to exercise their internal law, but we can demand to respect to our rights as immigrants. And I think that we also have to think about the fact of most of the people who immigrate to the United States are people who are looking for better opportunities, better life opportunities, better job opportunities for themselves or for their families. So again, as I said, no matter who you are, where you came from, you're a male, a female, a kid, you still have rights.